And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest and greatest episode of Game Rivals. I'm one of your hosts, Maximillian X, and with me, as always, is the man with the master plan, the guy who's gonna hunt dinos in exoskeletons. It's Sean Templar. How's it going, Sean?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm not gonna hunt dinosaurs. I hope you're good as well. You were sick, I know, the last few days, but yeah,
Week and a half,
yeah,
at least.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm still like, you can still hear it in my voice. I had to use nasal spray so that I can like breathe normally.
I hope you
Um,
didn't get addicted.
Oh no! I'm very spare. I use no nasal sprays very sparingly, only when I really need to. It's not like so that I don't build up a resistance to it.
Oh,
But yeah, I am recovering. I'm way more better than I was like 2 weeks ago. Um, so yeah, let's get this show on the road. The last couple of weeks has been fun because it was Summer Game Fest. So a lot of games got announced. Too much for us to cover here, but we're going to cover some of the highlights, some of the interesting stuff that came afterwards. We had the 25th anniversary of Final, Final Fantasy VII, so we'll be talking more about that as well. Capcom had their own thing. Microsoft had their own thing. Um, Last episode we talked about the state of play, so we're going to be talking about all the other stuff that came after that. Um, do you want to start with Summer Games Fest, or do you want to start with Xbox?
we can do Summer Games Fest first, because then we'll do Microsoft after, because that's how
Sure.
the thing went. Yeah,
Yeah. So a lot of stuff got announced during Summer Game Fest, or as they like to call it, the Key Three.
yeah,
Like, oh my god, the Key Three! Oh, good grief! But they kicked off with some more Street Fighter actually.
yeah.
Um, like a couple of weeks before, we had a proper reveal of Street Fighter Six. They dropped the first real trailer. I have to say, I don't know if we talked about it the last time, but I have to say
Uh,
it looks really cool.
I think it was in a state of play, so we probably talked about it.
Was it in the state of play?
Yeah, because it had like this open world like thingy we talked about.
Oh yeah, it was in the state of play. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. We talked about it a little bit, but again, looks really cool. They showed us more stuff. They revealed a new character, Guile, who looks. I I gotta say, he looks kind of really cool.
I'm not.
Um,
I don't play fighting games, so it's like, yeah, okay, yeah. It looks nice, but I'm like, this doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, but for someone who grew up with Street Fighter, this was like really cool for me to
Hmm.
see like because story wise, like lore wise, Street Fighter 6 takes place after Street Fighter 3. It's very confusing, I know. Um, but basically canonically it's like Street Fighter 1, Street Fighter 2. No, sorry. It's Street Fighter Alpha, so the Alpha series, Alpha 1, 2, 3, Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 3. Oh, sorry, Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5, and then Street Fighter 3. So Street Fighter 3 is basically at the end of the timeline, and now Street Fighter 6 takes place after Street Fighter 3. So 6 is now the new end of the timeline. So everybody's like way older. They're more mature in their fighting styles. You can also see that in their looks. Like Ryu has the beard and looks way more dignified as like a fighter. He's wearing the sandals. um, Guile looks older, but he looks older, but also he does not look older, which is super weird. And he has a beard now too, so that's also a thing. Um, but the move sets look really cool. They're doing a lot to make it more appealing to not just hardcore fans, but also with more casual fans, because they also have two different not fighting styles, but control styles. So you can control it in the classic way, so it's 6-button configuration, blah blah blah, and then they have the modern style, which only uses 3 buttons, four buttons, to do everything, and everything is more simplified in like execution. Like for example, like doing combos is very simple, doing specials is very simple, but that also means that complicated specials are not available to you then, but it is for people that are more casual or have never played a fighting game to learn how to play a fighting game, or at
Okay.
least enjoy playing a fighting game, despite not having like the intricate um, finger gymnastics to play them, or an arcade stick. So that looked really cool. Then it showed off Aliens Dark Descent, which is, I think they said it was an isometric
RTS kind of like game.
RTS kind of game.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, they showed a CG trailer, so you couldn't really tell from that.
Yeah.
I thought it was just another Space Marines game.
Yeah, I thought it might be like last year they released Fire Team, I think. It was like done by
Hmm.
an indie developer. It was okay. I didn't play it, but it got okay
Was a bit
reviews.
janky, but people really liked
Yeah, and
it.
I thought it was like maybe like a sequel to it or something, but it's like completely different. The
Yep.
the theme in general, what I noticed with this Summer Games Fest is like a lot of horror like games
Mm,
in it. Because like a
yeah.
lot of games were like, oh, this is another horror game, or oh, this game has horror elements. I'm like, okay, is this like a new thing we're gonna keep on doing this generation?
I don't know. I don't know. But you're not wrong, because the next game that they showed was the Callisto Protocol,
Yeah, which looked really cool.
which is made by former
Dead Space.
Dead Space developers,
Yep.
which you can really
It's
tell.
basically a new Dead
Um,
Space game, just not the
it's
name.
literally just a new Dead Space.
Yeah.
But people are excited for it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's gonna be fun.
It's coming
You
out
know, the
this year
pedigree's
in
there.
December.
Yeah,
December
it's coming out
22nd,
really
I
quickly.
think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I might actually try it. I enjoyed the first Dead Space.
They talked about Call of Duty 2, but do you want to talk about Call of Duty 2?
No, I'm looking forward to it. It's coming out October 28th. They showed like
Yeah, they talked about Warfare 2, but they did not show Warfare 2.
they showed a single player demo, but
Sorry, not Warfare,
Warzone.
Warzone
Yeah,
2.
yeah. They showed a single player demo. I mean, like it looked cool. I mean, it's basically how the single player of Call of Duty is always, at least the ones done by Infinity Ward. I always like those. So this one
Yeah.
was pretty cool. There's going to be a multiplayer beta which kicks off I think in August, and the
Hmm.
exclusivity is still there for the PlayStation. So if you
Yeah, they get
pre-order
to
it,
play
you get
the
it a week
beta
early.
5 days earlier.
Yeah,
Um, that they revealed the game franchise that has been gone for like 30 years. Flashback, never heard of it.
I mean either.
Was a PC game. Witchfire, which is this like first person shooter set in this
Yeah,
gothic theme thingy where you use magic spells and magic guns, and
yeah,
yeah, sure. They showed it off like a couple of years ago at Summer Games Fest, I think, or I want to say it got a debut at the Game Awards like in
yeah,
2017,
something like that.
and it's been like 5 years since then. It's like, oh wow, this game has been in development for a while, quite a
Yeah,
while. Fort Solis is a sci-fi thriller, which also kind of looks like Dead Space.
but that one looked cool because
Um,
it has Troy Baker in it as voice actor, and I
mhm.
think the guy that did Arthur Morgan in Red Dead 2.
Yeah, Roger Clark.
Yeah, so that looked pretty cool.
Yeah, it looked fine. And then another sci-fi horror routine, which honestly looked really creepy.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of looking forward to that one because it looks different. It kind of reminds me of Alien Isolation, but with robots.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really cool. Stormgate, which is a
Mm.
new RTS from former Blizzard developers.
It really
Um,
showed. It looked like a new Warcraft.
yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, old people that used to work on the Warcraft franchise, not World of Warcraft, but Warcraft, um, they were not allowed to make new Warcraft games. So they were like, you know what? We're going to make our own Warcraft game
Yeah.
with hookers and blackjack. um, so yeah, there are a lot of games that were really revealed. Goat Simulator 3 kind of caught me off guard.
It had like the They spoofed the Dead Island 2 trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not only that, there is no Goat Simulator 2.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's the joke.
Oh,
They went straight from 1 to 3.
nice.
Oh my goodness. Let me see what. Let me just skip a couple of stuff, otherwise we're gonna be here forever. They showed off the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Revenge, which is out by the way, and
Yeah.
I'll be talking more about that in what we've been playing. So teaser for that. Um, they showed off Honkai Star Rail, which is the new game from the Genshin Impact people. And then also another game called, I forget what that's called. Um, Another game that they're also working on. Apparently, they are really busy because they still do content for
Genshin
their
Impact.
first game on mobile called Honkai Impact Third. They still do content for that. They do content for Genshin Impact. They're working on two new games. One is supposed to come out this year, soon, and the other one is supposed to come out next year.
I know.
And yet we still haven't heard anything about the Switch port of Genshin Impact.
Is there
I
a
think
Switch
it's
port
dead.
coming?
They announced that they were gonna make a port for Switch, but I think that one is dead, and
I'm
they just haven't said
I'm
it.
surprised it never came to Switch, or it didn't come to Switch already, because Genshin Impact, in my opinion, screams Switch. But because I mean, it's a mobile processor in the Switch. It runs a mobile. It'll be amazing with the
Hmm.
controller. So I'm just surprised that it's not come to Switch yet.
Yeah, it's super weird. I don't know. It's fine. I don't care. Um, Warhammer 40K Dark Tide, which is this first person.
Yeah,
I want to say it's a first person shooter.
yeah.
There's a lot. There was like a world. There was a Warhammer like showcase like earlier in the week
Oh, I didn't know
that
that.
showed off like I think like 10 different Warhammer games, which
Yeah.
is insane. I do not remember what it was. Like Dark Tide was one of the games they showed off. They showed off a bunch of games.
Hmm.
Crazy. They showed off Saints Row Boss Factory, which lets you craft your own boss. Okay. Humankind is coming to console and Game Pass,
Nice.
which is pretty cool. They showed off some Nightwing footage from Gotham Knights, which, what is your opinion on that? Because they showed off a trailer. Well, they showed off gameplay like a couple of weeks prior,
I personally
and
think
I
like it could be. I think it could be a fun game. I mean, it's made by the people that did Arkham Origins. It wasn't a bad game, and I think people kind of want a new superhero game because it's been years since we got anything in the Batman franchise. So I think, and they've been
well, the
working
last
on
thing
it
was
for a while.
Arkham Knight, and people were like, "Love the gameplay, hate the
Batmobile,
Batmobile
yeah, I have the
segments."
same. I think people like. I think they will like it. They have taken the time for it because it got announced a couple of years ago. So
Mm.
I might, and it got delayed, so could be polished up more. So I can't imagine it being a good game. I think it includes some form of co-op, so it can also be fun to play with
Yeah,
friends. So yeah, I am looking forward to it. It's coming out this year,
I
so
I think it's only two-player co-op though.
it's better than nothing because the previous games didn't have co-op at all.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because those were single-player
Yeah,
games. And lastly, a new Layers of Fears. Sorry, another horror title. Wow, you're right. It's a lot of horror like
as I
related
said,
stuff.
it's like a new
Oh,
trend.
sorry, I skipped one that was actually pretty cool. Marvel's Midnight Sun
Yeah, that's also coming out this year.
by Firaxis,
Yeah,
which is also coming out this year. It looks really cool.
yeah,
They introduced some new characters. A corrupted Venom and Spider-Man joins the ranks.
yeah. Without any
Really cool
licensing
get up.
issues or exclusive rights stuff, apparently.
Oh yeah, but I think it's because it's a PC first title.
No, I think it's coming
I
to
don't
console
even
as
know.
well.
Is it coming? Oh yeah, it is coming to console.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, like that stuff, like the that stuff in Avengers made no sense,
yeah.
but whatever. So that, in a nutshell, is basically some of the highlights from Summer Game Fest. There are more titles that were announced, but I would recommend just looking up the list and see like what games
We forgot
were
one
interesting
game.
to you. Wait, what?
It leaked out the day before, and then it got shown at the end. The Last of Us One remake.
Right. Wait, why is that not in this list?
I don't know, but
Hmm.
it was the last thing they
Weird.
showed because they gave they gave an update around factions, or at least
Mm-hmm.
we thought it was factions, but they said like that they're making a completely standalone multiplayer last game in the Last of Us universe, and it's going to come
Yep.
out next year because initially they were just going to do factions, but I
It
think
ballooned.
it grew up in scope, and now they want to do something like dedicated, and they want to bring the Naughty Dog sauce to it, so like story driven. They just showed concept art. It's based in San Francisco, I think.
Yep.
Um, the way Neil Druckmann presented it, it made it sound pretty exciting. And then they're
And
do
yet they still had no footage of the game.
Yeah, and then they showed off the trailer for The Last of Us One remake, which is
Mm.
basically The Last of Us One in the Last of Us Two engine, and also with gameplay features from Last of Us Two. Um, it's gonna cost full price, so it's gonna be €80 here. It's coming out in
Yeah.
September, and it's also coming to PC later. Um, I'll buy it in a
I
sale, but
think
I'm
the
not gonna
reason
buy
why
it
it
full.
exists is because they wanted to bring it to PC, but they
Yeah,
wanted a higher fidelity version.
yeah,
And they knew they couldn't just do just PC
yeah,
and then not bring it out on PlayStation because they know that they'd get the PlayStation fanboys raging about that.
yep,
So I
yeah.
think that's the real reason it exists, because outside of that, it has no reason to exist.
Yeah, and I think this is something we will see more and more because there are more and more rumors going around that Sony is going to bring more titles to PC this year or in the next years. So
I
like
think they confirmed. Actually, it's not even like a rumor. Like I think
they said that they're going to do
they
more,
said that we're gonna do
but
more.
the titles in question are what the names that are floated are Returnal, which would make sense, Ghost of
Yep.
Tsushima. Um,
Wait, isn't that already coming to PC? Returnal?
no, it's not been announced yet, not that I know of.
Huh. Hmm.
Yeah, so basically, like the big Sony first party franchise games, I wouldn't be surprised if Forbidden West eventually comes to PC. Um, yeah, so, and I mean, it's not a bad move. The more people get to play it, I think God of War runs pretty good on the Steam Deck, for example. So you can also maybe tackle the people that want to play their games on the go.
Hmm.
I might actually buy if developed as a second gen Steam Deck, I might actually buy one because it's cool to have those games on the go,
Mm,
even though I'm not on the go that often, but it's the idea, I guess.
mm.
And
I'm looking forward to it catching just as much dust as your Switch.
Yeah, probably. I mean, last time, Uncharted is also still coming to PC this year. It hasn't come out yet. So I mean, there are some, and then we get Spider-Man remastered. We get Miles Morales.
Oh, that one is coming to PC.
Yeah, yeah. So like we have a
Yeah.
pretty good lineup of Sony games coming to PC this year, and I think they just want to keep that momentum going forward. I wouldn't be
Hmm.
surprised if they do like a Last of Us Part Two definitive edition for PC and for PS5. Um, to also lock that in because you can't have Last of Us
Wait, didn't
One.
it already get an update for PS5?
It got a 60 FPS update, but that's it. Yeah.
Mm. Anything to milk the crap out of video games, huh?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that in the way that I mean, it's not just Sony doing that. A lot of developers are
No,
doing that.
I'm not saying it's just Sony that's doing it,
Yeah.
but come on, it's happening way too often.
Yeah, and I think I think partially it's because of that maybe there isn't enough games to go around that they're doing this. Besides them wanting to earn money, but if you
Hmm.
look at it, I was like thinking about this the other day. Like we're in the second year of a new generation of games, and like it's pretty boring. There's lot like I know that like it needs to build up a momentum, but it feels like normally I would say okay, you start building that momentum after the first year, but now it still feels like we're building up momentum, and then hopefully in year 3 and 4 we'll get a lot of games. But honestly, my PlayStation 5 is gathering dust. Besides the fact that I'm not in the mood to play anything, but if I want to play anything, there aren't that many games that wake me like, okay, I want to buy that one, I want to buy that one, I want to buy that one. Like next week when the new PlayStation Plus comes out here, I'm gonna get
Hmm.
it. but I'm gonna play Guardians of the Galaxy, a game that came out last year. I'm gonna play Ghost.
Oh, you're getting extra.
Yeah, I'm getting extra, and then I'm just gonna
Okay.
play Guardians of the Galaxy, a game from last year. I'm gonna play Ghost of Tsushima, so I can play the Iki Island expansion, another game from last year, and I'm gonna play
Hmm.
Demon Souls, which is a launch title. So like, there aren't like any a lot of games saying like, hey, you need to have a PS5 right now,
Yeah.
and then
Oh, we'll get to those titles. Don't worry.
yeah. So I'm
Like
hoping
a
like
lot of,
yeah,
I think 2020. But you're right. Yeah, like part of it has to do with the fact that the pandemic happened.
yeah,
The other part is, of course, the
the,
shortage.
yeah.
So people getting, especially with the PlayStation 5, a hard time getting a PlayStation 5. Xbox has less of that
Well, even
problem.
though people just, I hate to say it, but people just probably, at least here in Europe, I don't think the demand for Xbox is high. Because I think I mentioned in the last episode that if there was a friend messaged me and he said it's been 3 hours since the Series X came into stock on ball.com and it still isn't
Hmm.
sold out. And then two
Yeah.
hours later, I checked and it was still in stock. I mean, when a PS5 comes into stock, it barely lasts a minute, let alone 5 hours. So, I mean, I think in that case, and I don't want to take a dump or or whatever on Xbox because they're doing cool stuff, but it's like people are just not. At least in Europe, I think people are just not excited for Xbox. You know?
Yeah, I mean, depending on where you are in Europe, like certain places, certain countries are more loyal to one than the other. Like for example, the UK yeah, that makes sense. Here is kind of here is weird. The Netherlands is weird. When it
We
comes to
just know
like
what we
what.
like, and we don't like Xbox.
Mm,
I mean, somebody at
I,
work bought a
I,
Series S, and he because he could get it cheap, and he got Game Pass, and that thing is gathering dust because he's like, yeah, I have all these games to play, but I don't feel like playing them or like firing up my Xbox. I like my PlayStation more.
yeah, I mean that's fair. That just means that they're an impulse buyer more, but um, at least that's how it sounds like to me. And I know this because I tend to impulse buy stuff myself. Um,
I know.
but yeah, there is. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There was a lot of stuff announced, which is really cool.
Yep.
And there's a lot of stuff to be looking forward to. With like in terms of like we talked about like the PlayStation subscription coming out finally in Europe.
Yep.
It's I think it's already out in the US now.
Yeah.
It's available. So earlier when it came out in Asia, it came out that not all the games were like the US version. They also had the PAL version,
Mm.
which was running at a lower frame rate, and not all the games were being emulated properly. So that was a thing. In the US, all the games are the US versions.
Yeah, they're all running on 60 hertz
So they're all
PAL.
running 60. They're running NTSC 60 frames per second.
No, no, no. It's PAL
So
60 hertz.
no, it's NTSC in the US.
From what I read, it was PAL 60 hertz.
PAL versions never had 60 hertz. So that would
I don't
actually
know, but that's
physically be impossible.
what the thing said.
Really? That makes no
Yeah, I
sense.
know it's weird.
Um, but yeah, at least they're running at 60 there, so that's the thing. But even still, the emulation is not great. On certain games, not all games, but on certain games, apparently. So I'm curious if they're going to be resolving that anytime soon. I don't know. It sounds a little bit disappointing. I'm not gonna get premium for one, even though that's the one I kind of want to get because of the classic games. I'm just gonna stick to essential for now, and I'll see when interesting games get added. Maybe I'll take premium for a month and do that, and just check it out how it is. Um, what is cool though, however, speaking of games that you can play, Amazon Prime is having their Prime Day, and to celebrate that, they are giving away people that have Prime, specifically Twitch Prime. a bunch of PC games, including Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Did you claim it or can't you claim it yet?
You cannot claim it yet. I think it starts June 21st.
Few days.
So as you're listening to this, claim it. If you're listening to this on Wednesday, claim it. Otherwise, you're gonna be missing out on some really good games. So it's Mass Effect Legendary Edition, Star Wars Jedi Knight Academy, Jedi Outcast, Star Wars Republic Commando, Need for Speed Heat, if that's your thing. But also some classic games uh, like Metal Slug 2, Rain World, bunch of other games, like 30 different games. It's like, dude, like if you, the only thing is that for these games, you do have to have, uh, Amazon Prime, Twitch Prime, they're one and the same. And you have to have accounts on those services. So for the classic games, like good old games, you need a GOG account. For the EA games, you need an EA account because you need to connect the you need to sorry, not connect, but redeem the games through that. Um, and it is really cool. I mean, you're paying like what, like $5 a month for like Prime, and you're getting like a bunch of games, like a bunch of good games. So like if you're listening to it right now, Prime Day, get your Prime Day on, get them games while they're hot. um but you know what else is hot? Being a pro.
Yeah.
But in this case, not pro consoles because it's way too early to be talking I don't. You know what the thing that really gets me is that people are already talking about pro consoles.
Yeah, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I read an article the other day in which they were like,
It's not going to happen at all. People are still talking about it.
yeah, but like I think the only reason we got pro consoles last generation is because of the quick adoption of 4K, but
Mm.
we're not seeing a quick adoption of 8 or 6K. So there's no reason to do like a pro model. I mean, maybe the if the industry wants it or gives off signs that it's
What would be the
necessary.
benefit? Like, what would seriously be the benefit of a pro version?
I think well, it's basically updated hardware because the basically now what's running is it's Zen 2, which is like a couple of years old. We're already getting Zen 4, I think, this year, and
Hmm.
also the graphics technology is a little bit older, or the memory is a little bit older from speed point of view. So like it's like getting a new PC, new parts equals better performance. But I mean,
Mm.
I don't think
I mean, I can see a revision version. I could see them going for maybe a light, which has because the components are cheaper,
no, they'll do a
or
slim,
let me see,
definitely. Yeah,
yeah,
they'll
like
do
a
a slim.
slim
Yeah,
version or a light version or whatever,
yeah,
where it's a bit cheaper and easier to come by. But I don't think even that I don't think is going to happen anytime soon because we still have store like part shortages,
yeah,
and it's only getting worse
yeah.
again. So that's fun.
I mean,
I
I think if consumers really want it, they'll do it, but there is no incentive to do it right now. I mean,
Yeah.
I also don't think that the Pro models or the One X or whatever you want to call it, I don't think they sold as much as they were hoping to. I think still people just bought the normal model.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Also because it's cheaper
yeah,
to buy the normal model or the S, because I
yeah,
think they still sell the S, the One S. Sorry, not the Series S. They still sell those as well, though. Not to be confused.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, the when I was talking about Pro, I was talking about Pro controllers,
yeah.
specifically Sony making their own Pro controller,
That would be very
which is
nice.
crazy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm playing a lot more Battlefield right now, and I've there's from what I've saw is there's no option to flip the trigger, so you can't put R1 and L1 like with a simple switch to use as aim down
Hmm.
the sights and shooting. So I had to adjust the controls. But when you do that, some features might also fall away because other buttons are mapped to certain features, or you have two features mapped to one button, which is annoying. And the reason I'm doing this is because a trigger pull takes longer than an R1 tab press. So sometimes when you're in an engagement, you lose simply because the trigger wasn't pressed far enough to trigger it to shoot. It happened a
Mm.
lot with me in Call of Duty, so that's why I always shoot with R1. And I think a pro controller will be really cool because then you can just have trigger stops. So like the amount of room a trigger moves is far shorter, so it responds instant, for example. And they're also going to add, at least the rumor says, programmable triggers, uh, paddles, on the back that you can tie to certain features.
Removable analog sticks
Yeah, and also,
or replaceable. Sorry, not removable.
yeah,
Replaceable analog.
maybe they'll do like those analog stick thingies that you can, like the Xbox Elite controller has, like the different height ones. So the angle that you have to move your sticks is shorter.
Hmm.
Or maybe there was also some stuff around software improvements, so that the controller will allow certain software based improvements that will enhance your experience.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. It's probably going to be like $150 because like the Elite controller is also $150. So as long as it works, I don't care, and as long as it comes in black. Yeah, I don't want a white controller.
Oh my goodness! There it is. There it is.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
grief.
My whole PlayStation
Um.
setup is midnight black or matte black. So like I have the D brand plates, I have the black controller, I have the black headset. So like everything is in a matching color. I don't want all sorts of white and dual tone stuff. Just keep it simple.
All right. Well, speaking about keeping it simple, Microsoft kept it pretty simple when they had their Xbox and Bethesda showcase.
Yeah, and the presentation style was
Um,
a lot better compared to the previous years.
yeah, it was just straightforward trailers. I mean, I kind of could have done less with the play now on Game Pass, but yeah, it was really good. It was really snippy.
Yeah,
There are a few games that I do want to like bring up that looked interesting. I'm not a big. I mean, we talked about this before. I'm not a big like sim racing guy, but holy crap, did Forza Motorsport look good?
yeah, it did.
And they're doing a lot of cool new techie stuff, which makes the graphic designer part of my brain go like, yeah, that looks pretty cool.
But I wonder if they'll be
Um,
able to go. I haven't watched the video, but Digital Foundry did a video, and they're
mhm.
doubting the fact that the game will be able to pull off 4K at 60 frames plus ray tracing. They're like, can it really do it? I don't know.
Only time will
I
tell.
don't know.
Only time will tell.
Yeah.
I mean, here again. The easy part of this is it's coming to all the Xbox games are coming to Game Pass.
Hmm.
So if you have Game Pass, you can try it out and see it for yourself.
Yeah.
Simple.
I don't think they're
Uh,
gonna do native 4K. It'll probably be like a dynamic resolution or something like that.
who knows?
Yeah.
Um, they talked about a bunch of games, but the games that people really looking forward to were Redfall, which
It looked
honestly
cool.
to me it looked fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't really speak to me. Starfield was the big one.
Yep.
That definitely looked like a Bethesda game.
Yeah, but a lot nicer. Like no annoying facial animations, no dead emotionless conversations anymore. It felt a little bit better, but they've confirmed your character is a mute, which really sucks because I hate it when your character
Mm,
is a mute and doesn't say a word. Um, it looked like a cross between multiple games. So, for example, the combat really reminded me of Wolfenstein or a bit like Destiny, and the
mm.
exploration really reminded me of No Man's Sky. So it almost feels like that they're just
Except you
combining
can't do the
certain
thing that
games.
No Man's Sky does, and that is fly into space.
Oh, you can't.
No, it's a transition. You get a cutscene.
Oh wow, that's
The engine is not built for that because it's their old engine that's like 20 years old that they've been
I thought they
like
completely built
cobbling
something
new
new.
stuff. No, it's the same engine that they use
Oh,
for
oh,
like
oh.
Fallout
I thought they said
76
like they built something
and
from the ground up for this
and
generation.
Skyrim.
Oh,
No. They just added more stuff to the old engine.
oh, okay. Well, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was
Hmm.
expecting to, because the way they showed it, like you're your shuttle or whatever, your
Yeah,
spaceship. Like,
yeah, that
oh,
it's a
okay.
cutscene that brings you into
Yeah.
space.
I mean, they said it
Yeah.
has 1,000 planets. The game relies heavily on procedural generated content. I mean, there won't be a
Mm,
lot of those 1,000 planets won't be as
they're not gonna be
exciting.
interesting plans. They say that most of the planets are bespoke,
Yeah,
but yeah, what does that mean
yeah,
when it comes to Bethesda, really?
yeah.
Um,
They
yeah,
announced
there are a bunch of
a new partnership between Kojima Productions and them. They're gonna do some kind of cloud-based game or cloud technology game, but it's gonna take a
yeah.
while. And Kojima the day after on Twitter said, I just want to say that I have a very good relationship with PlayStation as well, and we will still keep on working with them. So it's not like we're turning our backs on PlayStation. I think it's hard to do because they basically helped you build your new studio. It'd be kind of weird if you did that, but I
Hmm.
think they'll probably. To be honest, I think what's basically going to happen is they're going to be two teams at
Mm.
Kojima. One is going to do the Xbox game, the other one is going to do Death Stranding 2, and that's basically
If
how
it's
they're.
big enough, sure, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm assuming it is. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, they showed off a bunch of other games, but like again, if you want to see the full things, there are highlights lists online for that. Those were the games that kind of really stuck out to us.
Yeah.
Um, there is one thing that I wanted to talk about real quickly before we go to break and then do what we've been playing, and that is that Capcom had their own showcase as well. And we already talked about Street Fighter 6, but they also showed off the confirmed rumor of the Resident Evil 4 remake, which they say is a reimagining of the Resident Evil 4 story.
We talked about
So
this during the
I'm
State of Play episode.
no, we
We
didn't
did
because it
because
wasn't
this
announced then.
Resident Evil 4 got announced during the State of Play.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was announced at the Capcom showcase.
No, it was one of the first games shown off at the State of Play. It's coming to current
Oh,
gen consoles, not to the PS4 and the Xbox One and stuff.
right, yeah, we
Let's
did,
take a
didn't
break
we?
right now, and then we'll come back, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the Capcom showcase and about Final Fantasy.
Yeah. And welcome back to the second segment of the news. Let's just pick up right where we left off. Um, so yeah, we're talking about the Capcom showcase. They showed more of Resident Evil 4, um, which again, as we were saying, is a reimagining of the Resident Evil 4 story, which is, I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, it's coming out next year, um, probably March.
I don't
No,
know.
actually, it has a date. Sorry, no, it has a date. It's coming out March 24th. Actually, uh, yeah, right.
I wonder at
Yeah,
this
yeah,
rate if they are going to remake
yeah.
all.
March 24th. Yeah,
I wonder if they're going to remake all the Resident Evils till 6, and then maybe actually fix 6 if they
I
remake
don't think
it.
so.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think we should expect a remake of Resident Evil 5.
It looked pretty okay.
Because they still haven't done, for example, Code Veronica.
Oh, that's
That
right.
hasn't been remade yet. Which is interesting because they went through they did one.
Did they?
They didn't do one. They did two.
Yeah, and then
They
3.
did three. Um, Now they're doing four. So they skipped one.
Wasn't Revelations the remake for 1, or was it something
No,
completely different?
Revelations is a completely different thing.
Oh, okay.
It takes place between four and five Revelations,
Okay.
or at least the first Revelations. I can't speak for the second one.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so one hasn't been done. Code Veronica has not been done. Um, so I don't know what the plan is there. They did show off more. They finally showed off the DLC for Resident Evil 8,
Yeah.
which they talked about a long time ago, and then they didn't show anything. Um, it's pretty interesting, that one though, because it is getting it's called the Winters expansion. Get it, Ethan? Winters expansion. um it's getting a story expansion, so called Shadows of Rose, which takes place years after RE Village, and follows Ethan's daughter Rose, the one that you have to save in the main game.
Okay.
um They're adding a new Mercenaries mode, because what Resident Evil game does not have Mercenaries mode these days? And they're adding a third person mode,
Oh, that's right.
which is really interesting because apparently a lot of people were asking for it. So now you can see the severed hand of Ethan Winters in third person.
Nice.
Oh my god, that dude's hand gets so messed up, man, in that game. Sheesh. Ugh, ugh. I'm sorry. Just like stuff like that, just ugh,
It's okay.
gets under my skin. Gross. But I'm not gonna lie. The third person mode makes it interesting for me. Now I kind of actually want to play Village
Because it's less
because
scary.
it is less scary in third person. Because that's how I experienced Resident Evil. Like the first Resident Evil that I played was RE4, so I'm super excited about the remake. But I talked about this before. That now I have to actually save up for PlayStation 5. And not just for that. We're gonna get that into that in a bit. But they also showed off some other stuff, like we talked about before, Exo Primal, or as you like to call it, Dinosaur Anthem.
I don't care about that game.
It looks
It's
fine.
I can tell you right now that game is not gonna do well.
I don't I don't know. I don't know. There is gonna be a closed network test. Um, but I think you have to like sign up for it.
I'm not even
I
gonna
haven't signed
bother.
up for it. Um, it looks interesting enough. They showed off more Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. Oh my god, that game looks so good. They're adding so much more cool stuff to it. I'm like, yo. And they released a demo, but I'll talk about that more in what we've been playing. Um, Capcom Fighting Collection is also around the corner. They showed that off a little bit. They announced a sequel to Dragon's Dogma, which okay. I think it did well enough, the franchise. So for me, it was super weird. They also announced a Netflix animated series for Dragon's Dogma. Um, okay.
And I think they released the next gen updates for Resident Evil 2, 3, and 6. Oh, 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're all coming to next gen platforms.
Yeah, for free, I think.
Yeah, so there is a free update if you have the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One version through smart delivery and upgrade whatever the upgrade path is on PlayStation. Um, but yeah, those are for free if you don't have if you already own those games. So that's very nice.
Yeah.
Um,
But I think there's again a thing about if you have I don't know if it was that game or another game. If you have
mhm.
Resident Evil 6 through the PlayStation Plus collection, it doesn't work. Or Resident Evil 7. I think there was
Oh, that
I
nonsense
think
again.
that was something again. Let
Mm.
me quickly check.
Yeah. Let me see if it's here. Uh, I can't see it here in the highlights. Maybe it is,
Can't
but
be
they are
claimed.
at.
Yeah, it can't be. Isn't available through the PlayStation Plus collection.
Yeah, that's stupid.
I genuinely
Um,
wonder if it's a Sony thing because Final Fantasy VII remake got a
eventually
PS5.
got it. Yeah,
Yeah, and that one was given
it
through the
it
normal PS Plus, and they said, "Well, you can't get the PS5 version for free," and then eventually they did.
yeah. I don't know what the deal is there.
I
Um,
think it's something like contract wise, like that they in a contract really stipulate like this
yeah,
game is given away through this service, we get X amount of money in return, and then if they were to do something that steers away from that agreement, it's contract breach. So I think that's maybe the reason why they like really black and white look at it, like, oh, we can't from a legal point of view, because otherwise it wouldn't make sense not to do it.
Hmm, I don't know. Oh, there is one thing that we missed, which I know it's not big for you because you're not into JRPGs, but it
Yeah.
is big. Um, Persona 3, 4, and 5 are coming to Xbox
And to
and PC.
PlayStation apparently, but I'm confused because Persona 5 is already on PlayStation.
Yeah, that was a bit confusing. Um, yeah, wait, it is coming?
Yeah, they're also coming to PlayStation. Because I think
Oh
it's a
no, yeah, but
remaster,
5 is
right?
already out.
Yeah, it's a
Five is already out,
Yeah.
so I don't think it's about 5. But 4 and 3 are not on PlayStation 4.
No, so I think it's a remaster, right?
Uh, I don't think it's a remaster. I think it's a port.
Really?
Yeah.
So they wouldn't even go through the effort to make it prettier?
Oh, okay. So okay, because Persona 5 is not on PlayStation 5. It's on PlayStation 4.
Yeah. Okay. So, but
Yeah.
then they're doing something to it.
Yeah, that means that it's getting like a native, probably a patch update or to have it run on native 4K
Okay.
or whatever. Um, okay, yeah, I'm just seeing that now. Super weird. I don't think the other games are coming. It doesn't really show that, but it's weird. Apparently, there was this weird embargo which did prohibited them from announcing these versions specifically.
Yeah. So all
It's
the
all very,
games that
it's all very
Microsoft
confusing.
announced that are coming to PlayStation had a 48-hour embargo. So for 48 hours only, it was Microsoft or Xbox, and then the developers were allowed to say, "Hey, it's also coming to PlayStation."
Super weird. That's a really weird deal to make, by the way.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that was a big deal because people have been wanting that for a really long time. You know who's also been wanting these games for a really long time?
You.
Nintendo fans.
Oh,
What the heck, Atlas? Come on, man, give us a bone, man.
it's
Sheesh.
probably a money thing.
It's always a money thing.
Well, Nintendo can be high in pride, but if they just shell out their checkbook, they can make it happen. So it basically
Yeah,
feels
bring
like
out the money hats.
it feels like Nintendo is like Ken Kutaragi during the PS3 era. We don't buy our exclusives; we earn our exclusives.
Did he used to say that?
During the PS3 era, he said that, and then shortly thereafter, he got replaced by Kazuo Hirai because PlayStation was on a downward path when the PS3 came out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, Ken Kutaragi. Basically, Ken Kutaragi turned into like a light version of Don Metric during the PS3 era, because he was there
Mm.
only for the beginning, and then he was just like slowly faded to the background.
Mm.
Probably for the best.
Well, in Don Matrix's case, they booted his ass. So. Yeah, that was not the only thing that got announced recently.
I know Final Fantasy had their 25th
They
anniversary
had
thing.
their 25th anniversary for Final Fantasy VII specifically,
Yep.
where they announced a bunch of stuff. They showed off more of the mobile stuff. They did show off some cool stuff. One of the things is um, so there's Final Fantasy VII Remake,
Mm-hmm.
which came out in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they're also doing another remake, which is faithful to the Final Fantasy story.
It's Crisis
Like
Core
it's
that came to the
basically
PSP, right?
no, because Crisis Core is a prequel.
Okay.
Yeah, which they also announced is getting a remake
This
for
winter.
all consoles
Yeah.
this winter. All consoles:
Yeah.
Switch, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series,
Is
PC.
it coming to the Switch as well?
It's coming to the Switch as well.
Wow.
That blew my mind, by the way.
I'd still play it on
Um,
PlayStation, but that's me.
yeah, well, that's you. But I've been meaning to play Crisis Core. It is really hard to find for PSP
I have it
because it's a
here.
PSP title. You're kidding.
Yeah.
You have Crisis Core?
Yeah.
Planning on telling me when?
Planning on telling you when. It never came up. Is it? It's not like something I shout off the rooftops. I have Crisis
I'm
Core.
pretty sure I brought up before that I bought
Never,
Crisis
never,
Core, and it was the German version.
never. This is the first time I'm hearing it.
Really?
Yeah,
What the? I
I've
need to
I
borrow your
I
copy.
have it here. I've never. I've like only played like an hour of it. The funny thing is,
I'm gonna have to borrow your copy before the remake comes out
sure.
because I have a copy, but when I bought it, it was just the UMD,
Oh,
and it didn't say that it was the German version. And
okay.
then I put it in my PSP, and then it was all in German. I'm like,
Oh,
I was so disappointed.
yeah. I have to,
Because it's really hard to
then.
come by, and it's not cheap.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is
Oh,
not
I
cheap.
didn't even know that.
It was never re-released. It never had a digital version
Yep.
because um I don't know how they're gonna do the remake. I hope they do multiple language tracks. Um
I mean, it probably fit on a
because the
Blu-ray.
Japanese version specifically, one of the characters is actually voiced by like this big musician called Gact. And that's one of the reasons why it never got a digital release because they'd have to re-engineer a new deal that they can re-release the game um, with him with his voice work in there. So I'm kind of curious how the remake is going to work. From what I have heard from people that have played the original game, the dialogue in the trailer for the new one is like literally lifted out of the PSP version. So like one
If
to
it's high
one.
quality
So
audio, why
like
not?
yeah, so I that's the thing that I'm wondering if that's the case, they probably didn't re-record any dialogue. So I don't think anything's gonna change. It's just gonna be a a a, a remake other than like better graphics and stuff. Um so that was a big one because that was not announced before. It's called Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. And the reunion part is really important because they finally showed off part two of Remake, and that one is called
Rebirth,
Rebirth.
yeah.
And they said it's going to be three parts. So we don't know what the third one is going to be called, Revengeance. Um, like as in Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
I don't hope so. Pretty crappy name. Then
Final
again,
Fantasy VII Revengeance.
then again, Square Enix isn't really original when they come up with new games like Triangle Strategy.
I hate that title so much.
Yeah,
Great game, horrible title.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so they showed off that. They showed off Air for Crisis, which is the more faithful remake that's coming to mobile. That's getting a beta this year, but it's also coming out this year. Um,
I don't know if I would
the
want to
final,
play a game like that on mobile.
yeah, so that's the weird part, right? Because it looks really good. Like if you look at the trailer, it looks really good. I'm like, so you could put this out like on consoles, right? Because it looks fine.
Hmm.
I don't think anybody would bat an eye and be like, "Oh, this is a mobile game." You know.
The reason probably is because then it will like they're already doing remake on console, so why bother with that from mobile to console?
Well, they also did Final Fantasy 15 Portable, and that also came to consoles.
Yeah, but they're putting like a lot of money into remake, and they want to recoup as much as that money if they can.
Oh, you think they're not putting a lot of money into Ever Crisis?
Probably less than into rebirth than whatever the third part's going to be called.
Well, they did say it's free. It's free to play.
You probably have to buy the
Um,
chapters or something like that.
Yeah, they're probably gonna do that nonsense again. I am not looking forward to that. Oh, and it has cosmetics, so
Oh god, yeah.
they're gonna be charging for that as well.
The funny thing is
Um,
I'm only bringing this up because you talked about like how good it looks, but I mean, I think with mobile in the next few years, we're going to get into a space where a lot more games are going to come to mobile and look really good because I think it's rarely talked about, but No Man's Sky is coming to mobile as well. It's going to run on I know like on the M1 iPads, so that's also going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah, it got announced like 2 weeks ago during the developers conference thing, and nobody's talking about it. But I read it somewhere. I was like, this is pretty cool. No Man's Sky is coming to iPad and Mac later this year. One of the biggest surprises from Apple at WWDC was the focus on gaming on both the Mac and the iPad, blah, blah. However, Apple forgot to mention that No Man's Sky is also coming to iPad, something that was mentioned in the press release that the company shared.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
weird.
The power of Apple Silicon enables every new Mac to run triple games with ease, including upcoming titles such as EA's Grid Legends and Capcom's Resident Evil Village. And since Apple Silicon also powers iPads, game developers can bring their AAA games to even more users, like No Man's Sky from Hello Games, which is coming both to Mac and iPad later this year. Now, there's a hint of bad news here, which means that only the M1 powered iPads and future versions will be able to play the game because of Metal 3, which is, I think, their new API or something they talked about.
Hmm.
But, like, the fact that No Man's Sky is coming to an iPad is
It's
actually,
really weird.
well, it could be cool because if I can hook up my PlayStation controller on it and I can play No Man's Sky on the go. Not that I play No Man's Sky. I've been meaning to get to it because it's actually a better game than when it originally came out. Plus, it got a
If you
PS5
want to
upgrade.
play No Man's Sky, just let me know. We can do some co-op together.
Yeah, it's also coming to Switch this year.
It is.
Yeah,
Oh my god, it's coming to a lot of stuff.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh,
But
it's Sony's.
I mean, like,
It is. It's Sony's Skyrim.
yeah. But the funny thing is that the game keeps on getting free content updates. I mean, like
I
you.
don't know how they're doing
Yeah, I
that.
don't know because
I don't know how they're doing that.
yeah, it's crazy because also the updates are substantial updates. They add a lot of
Oh, they're big
stuff.
updates.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and from a business point of view, you'd be like, how?
I am
Why?
curious how many copies they've sold so far of No Man's Sky.
I'm curious as well, but I don't know if that number's out there because they've also won like a couple of best persistent game awards, over the years.
Because I don't think, yeah, because I don't think they've like reprinted discs of No Man's Sky.
I don't
I
know.
don't know if they've done that. I don't think that game has been reprinted. Actually, I'm really curious.
Uh,
Anyway, um, that's big. I was not aware of that.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, the biggest thing. Sorry, to bring it back to Final Fantasy, the biggest thing, of course, was Rebirth.
yeah,
They showed that trailer off, which looked amazing.
yep,
And again, another reason for me to save up to buy a PlayStation 5 because it's only coming to PlayStation 5. Um,
yep,
but it's coming out winter next year. So either late 2023 or early 2024 at the latest.
yep.
So I can take my time for that one specifically. Um, that one is a bit that one is a bit more of a need to play. Um, so yeah, that was it's been a hot couple of weeks when it comes to like gaming news.
Yeah, and then in
And the
August,
rumor has it that
Gamescom.
true, and there's also a rumor that on the 30th there's going to be a Nintendo Direct, which I really hope that's the case because I'm actually surprised they didn't do anything during the whole summer Game Fest period,
Yeah.
which is where everybody was doing their stuff. So it's like Nintendo is not doing anything. That's weird. But maybe they're waiting until Sunbreak is out and then they have a bit more to
When is
announce.
Sunbury coming out?
Sunbreak is coming out on the 30th.
Okay.
So the day that the direct is rumored to be.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah, is there anything else in terms of news that you wanted to discuss?
No.
Right.
No.
Then I guess we'll take another break, and when we be back, we'll be talking about what we've been playing. So stick around. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second segment, which is, of course, what we've been playing. So, Sean Templar, what have you been playing?
I played the Mario Strikers demo on the Switch, and
How'd that go?
it was pretty fun. I I did the training. I mean, I don't know how it is in the full game, but the training is a little bit. I wish it was a little bit faster because like they have like divided it up into like a lot of stuff, and you have to do all the things individually and then start a new one. Like I wish they had made it like more grouped together so it was easier to get through the training, because now it felt like I was taking a lot of time to get through the training and eventually getting just bored by it. And then
Hmm.
because it was like the multiplayer demo, it was available online at certain times. So I got to play online, but it was with someone else, and I didn't actually want to play with someone else. I just wanted to play on my own against someone else because
Yeah, they force you to play with
yeah, because
someone
it's
else,
annoying
which
because then
is
you have to pass to the other player and then hope he gets what you mean. And but yeah, that's like
yeah.
only the demo thing. It looked pretty cool on the Switch as well. Like really the visuals. I'm thinking of buying it, but I just didn't haven't bought it just yet because I'm like, I don't play on my Switch that often, or I don't play any games at all. So I just don't want to make it like Pokemon Arceus. Like I bought Pokemon Arceus and it's still in the seal. I haven't even opened it yet because I'm
Oh my
like,
god, please play Pokemon Arceus.
yeah, I'll probably do it sometime. Um, and then I've started to play. I've like when I initially bought my PS5, there was a sale for Rainbow Six Siege, which I bought for like $10, and I played a little bit of it, and it was okay because I've liked Rainbow Six in the past, but it's pretty hardcore. So I eventually stopped playing it, and then my Warzone group, like I haven't played games with them for months because they're all either playing Warzone or Vanguard or nothing at all. So they were like, "Hey, you have Siege, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." So a couple of them also apparently have Siege. So we started playing a couple of Siege multiplayer games this week. It was
Hmm.
pretty fun. It's multiplayer based, so and it's pretty high skill. So you just have to make the miles and get and to play it. But it was funny because we're just playing with the group again, and a lot of shouting and swearing and stuff like that happens. I personally like Siege. It also has a free PS5 upgrade, which I got, so it looks pretty cool. I know that if your TV supports it or your monitor, you can play in performance mode, which is 120 FPS, which, of course, with these types of games will always be a nice thing to have. Um, the way the game works is you buy the base game, which has some operators in it. All the operators have their own unique ability, unique look, and unique weapons. And then I believe through the season passes that you can buy, you can get extra operators, or you can buy operators separately. There's a huge roster of operators in there, and I think the game is already on its year 4 or year 5 season pass. Um,
Hmm.
so I think they'll just keep on going until they bring out a sequel or something like that. Um,
You think it's gonna get a sequel?
I don't know. They'll probably want to do something new. That
Oh wait, they did. It was called Extraction, and it sucked.
I think that's more like an expansion than a sequel. But yeah. Besides that, I've also been playing Star Wars Squadrons again. I think I mentioned it in the last episode. I've been playing that like on and off. I like how the controls are. I like the story. It's a fun game that I can just pick up in between and play. And then I went back to Battlefield because Battlefield has its first season that finally kicked off. They've brought out a big patch with a lot of fixes, like hundreds of fixes.
Hmm.
Um, and the fixes vary from stuff like netcode to performance to if for me it feels like the gunplay has even gotten better. They've changed the stats of weapons, like performance of the weapon, so how the recoil works or how the damage works and stuff like that. They've added one new map which is called Exposure, which to me feels a lot like Damavon Peak from Battlefield 3. That was a pretty cool
Hmm.
map. It was like this base in the mountains, and then you had like a tunnel in between, and if you were a daredevil, you would try to fly your helicopter through the tunnel, which we did a lot of times. And we usually found a tank at the end of the tunnel blowing us out of the air. So it feels like it's a remake of that map because basically the setting is that it's a research facility on the US Canadian border. And because of seismic shift, the facility has been damaged. The Russians think it's a secret weapons base, and they have deployed troops on the ground. And you either defend or attack the facility. It is a pretty big and open map, so it allows a lot of verticality. For example, if you have the specialist with the, the wingsuit, you can glide through a big part of the map. Um, I like the map. It's pretty open ended. I think it's 128 players only. The weird thing they've done is before this update they did 64 players conquest and 128 players conquest. 64 conquest is gone now, and I personally liked 64 conquest. So its breakthrough is
Wait, I
64.
thought 128 was getting that boot.
No, so what they've done is they've reduced Breakthrough, which is a different game mode, to 64
Hmm.
players, and Conquest basically is only 128. Um, and I liked 64 Conquest because if you play 128, the maps are pretty big, and then there's a lot of these open areas, which means you can get sniped easily, and that's part of like I know how to play Battlefield, so I know how to move my way around the game. But it adds to this. If you're a Call of Duty player or if you're a new player, you step into Battlefield, you run for 10 minutes without finding anybody, and then you get killed or sniped. So I don't feel it's like taking that away. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I bought the season pass. It's $10. It offers. It's basically like any season pass. You know, it has a lot of unlocks in it, customization, skins, badges, whatnots. There are a couple of new vehicles like helicopters, a couple of new weapons like a crossbow and a sniper rifle. Um, yeah, I mean, it's at least let me put it this way. I am
Hmm.
hoping from this point onwards that they will build on the foundation that they have right now because it feels like Battlefield now finally is in a place how it initially should have launched with all the fixes. And
Like 7 months late, 8 months
yeah,
later. Sorry.
yeah, so it feels like this is kind of the game we should have gotten back when it came out. And I hope now that with the seasons, they will keep on adding content on a stable rate.
So you don't think it's too little, too late?
No, because um like I bought Battlefield last year in the sale. It was 60
Mm.
bucks instead of 80 bucks. And then initially I put in like 60 hours and I enjoyed those 60 hours. And then eventually it felt broken to me. It felt like something wasn't working because I kept dying and I was unable to get kills. And now I feel like with all the balancing and all the fixes they've done that it's gotten into this place where it is a lot more playable for me again. I'm making kills. I'm not dominating as I used to in the past. Like I would really have matches where my kill death ratio was really high, and I'm not there yet. But I'm hoping because I bought the season pass, it incentivizes me to play it more because you want to get the max value out of it.
Hmm.
But like I had a match just before we started recording on that exposure on renewal, which is like this map based in Egypt, and it's partially desert, partially green areas. And
Mm.
then I was playing with the DMR, and then I was just on top of a building, and I was just like, I was sneaking my way around, and I saw people in the distance, and I was just taking shots, and I was making kills, and like felt really, really good and satisfying. Like, hey, I'm getting back into the feeling of Battlefield. And I have a few friends that have Battlefield, so I'll probably send them a message, and then we'll probably play them together. The only thing that I'm thinking about is going forward into the future is I might just buy all the Battlefield games on PC because in the past I've always played them on PC. And the reason I bought this one on
Mm.
PlayStation was because the graphics cards were pretty expensive. I wanted max fidelity when I played this game, and I couldn't get it on my PC, even though I have a reasonably good GPU. But I want with Battlefield, I want to play it in 4K 60 FPS, and on PlayStation it is 4K 60 FPS. So that's the reason why I did it. But like a mouse and keyboard always are just nicer to play with shooters than a controller. So um, yeah, going forward, I might upgrade my GPU this year. I'm thinking about it. So going forward, I'm just gonna buy them all on PC and then keep on doing that. So and besides
Cool.
that, um, no, that's basically what I've been playing. There's some games that are hopefully from next week on, I'll be able to play Guardians of the Galaxy and Ghost of Tsushima and Demon Souls and whatever is in the PlayStation Plus collection or the PlayStation Extra collection. But initially, this is what I've been playing. So,
All right.
what have you been
That's
playing?
plenty.
Yeah.
Well, since I was sick, I was able to play a lot more. I've been playing Monster Hunter Rise. I don't think I talked about it last time, but I finally beat the main story.
Oh, nice.
So I did all the main quests. So now I'm just working on event quests, which gets you some neat, cool stuff. I already got the Universal Studios Japan armor set, which is really pretty. I always get those because they're always really pretty. Um,
Is the
I'm
expansion
working
a
on.
digital one?
Yeah, it's a digital one. There is a physical release that comes with the base game and the expansion.
Hmm.
For those that want to do it that way, that option is there, but it is primarily digital. Yeah,
But if you buy the base game with the expansion, from what I read, it's the base game as a card as a cartridge, and the expansion is a digital voucher.
yeah,
Yeah,
mm,
okay.
yeah.
Because I'm just looking up and I can buy the game for $30. So maybe I will do
It's worth it. If it's 30, you should get it.
it. Yeah.
The expansion is also the expansion itself is 40.
Okay.
So so yeah, if you can get it for cheap, yeah, go for it. Absolutely. Again, if you want someone to play with, yo.
Yeah, that's why I'm getting it so we can play it because
Yeah,
I won't play it
we
by
could probably
myself.
play it on stream even if that suits your if that tickles your fancy. Um or at least if you don't want to stream, that's fine. You can join me on a stream and then we can play. Right now, I'm working on getting the Akuma layered armor, Akuma from Street Fighter. Once I've gotten that, I also want to get the layered armor for my dog, which is the Rush layered armor. So my dog looks like Rush from Mega Man. There is also one for the Palico, so for the felines, which makes them look like Sonic.
Oh, that's cool.
Um, I kind of want to get that, but I don't know if I'll be able to get all of that in time because just getting the Akuma armor is really hard and it takes multiple victories because I need to get a specific drop that you only get once you've beaten that quest and you get at the most you'll get 3 of these or 2 and I need 20 of them. I only have 13 now.
Mm.
So I still need 7. So at the very least, I still need to do this event quest 2 or 3 more times, or 4 more times, depending on how much we get, how much I get. Because if you lose, you don't get the item. So that's been fun. So I've been playing that. I played the demo for the expansion Sunbreak,
Hmm.
which has a bunch of new features in it, which is really cool. Like one of the things is the switch skill swap, which allows you to swap switch skills on basically on the fly, which means you can have way more versatility in how you deal with monsters. They added a bunch of new bugs so that you can get more rewards, do more damage when you're riding a monster, which is really cool. Tried that, was super cool to see that being implemented. I didn't even know that that was a thing because they don't talk about that for some reason. Okay. um they really focused on like the switch skill stuff and like the new monsters look so flipping cool. I'm like, oh, that's so cool, I want to play it. Ah, can't wait for the 30th. So I played that. I played Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge
How is
because
that?
that came out recently and it's on Game Pass.
Oh, nice.
So I actually streamed that through Game Pass. But remember, I don't have a PC that can run this stuff or uh, an Xbox.
So you did it
So
through
how
a
did I do
browser?
it? Exactly. I finally got the browser thing to work
Oh, nice.
because I wanted to stream forever through the browser, but the problem was for some reason I was never able to get the sound to come through.
Hmm.
Now it worked just fine. I also learned something very interesting about Shredder's Revenge. It has crossplay,
Oh, that's cool.
but only have the Windows version.
Oh,
If you have the Steam version, you can't do crossplay.
okay. That sucks.
And you can only do it between Windows and Xbox. They're still working on crossplay between PlayStation and Switch. Um, So when that comes out, great. That I'll get the Switch version definitely. But for now, I get to play it through the browser, and it works fine. The game looks gorgeous, and if you're any like Turtle fan, if you've played the old school like the Turtles arcade, Turtles in Time, Manhattan Project, whatever, you're gonna love it.
Is it a hard game?
I mean, it's a beat 'em up. So if you're used to playing beat 'em ups like 90s beat 'em ups, specifically the Turtles ones,
Hmm.
you'll feel right at home.
Nice.
It does have it does get a bit challenging, but it's not undoable. It's not unplayable or anything. It's not unfair.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. You get to play. It has 6-player multiplayer, so you
Wow.
can hook up with 5 other people. You can play as all the turtles and April O'Neil and Master Splinter. Um,
And another character,
and
right?
Casey
Oh
Jones
yeah.
is an unlockable. So yeah, there's options galore. It
Nice.
is really fun. I played with Michelangelo first, and then I played with April O'Neil. April O'Neil is really fun to play with
Mm,
because
nice.
she has like this double kick
Yeah.
that she does, and she attacks with her microphone,
Nice.
which is really appropriate. But it's so good, and they basically redid the classic 1990s intro as well. So it's like the theme song and everything, and it's just it's so good. I want to play with more people, but I couldn't play with more people because the only person that had the game at the time only had the Steam version, so we couldn't do
Oh.
crossplay. So we were trying to get it to work. It's like, why is it not working? It was like, and he was like, yeah, I'm on Steam. I'm like, wait, you're on Steam? Oh, I think it's only the Windows version. I'm like, crap. Yeah, but if you have Game Pass, it's definitely worth checking it out through Game Pass. If you don't have Game Pass, it is worth it. I think it's still on discount for $22.49 till the 22nd.
I saw on this eShop it's
So
10% off. Yeah.
yeah, it's everywhere. It's like
Oh,
10% off
nice. Cool.
because it's like the launch discount. So on Steam, it's also $22.49. On Xbox, well, on Xbox you have Game Pass, but if you don't have Game Pass, it's $22.49. Also on PlayStation, it's $22.49
Nice.
till the 22nd of June,
That's cool.
which is probably after this episode airs. So, oops. um, what else have I played? I played, or at least, oh yeah, I've been playing Teamfight Tactics some more.
Nice.
The new season for that is out. Um, it feels like a different game because they tossed everything around, and it just like all the classes are completely different now for all the champions, which is nice because it kind of puts everybody on an equal playing field for like a week, and then after that, the top tier players, figure out the meta, and then I use that to like I use basically when the pro players have figured it out, that's when I really get into it because then you can just look up at lists of like ideal configurations of teams and whatnot. So that helps. Because I'm really bad at that kind of stuff. Like I really need guides with those kind of games. But it is fun. It is still fun to play Teamfight Tactics. And I think that's about it. Oh no, there's one more thing. Um, Resident Evil 4 was on discount on Switch, so I bought that.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh my god.
because I was feeling nostalgic. Like, oh, it's like $10. Okay, sure.
Nice. Yay, I guess. I
Yeah, it's Resident Evil 4. I know that game front to back,
Yeah.
so it's fun.
It
It's
basically runs
just
on a potato these days.
exactly.
Yeah. Did
It,
it
it
did it ever
it
come to
it did take.
mobile? Because I'd be surprised if they hadn't done it.
No, I don't think so.
That's a funny thing. I didn't expect that.
No, it's not on mobile.
No.
No.
Wow, I am surprised by that move. Because then
Oh
it really
man,
runs
come
on a
on.
potato.
I mean, Skyrim is not on mobile, so
Yeah, it's on Switch.
I'm Yeah, it's kind of weird that it's not on mobile.
Yeah, because it's like the perfect game, you know. But the other things they made, like I think Elder Scrolls Blades or something. So they like made like a dedicated
Oh
game.
yeah, ugh, gross. That was so bad.
I never tried it.
Yeah, it's not good. It's very microtransaction-y.
Yeah, I never understood why they just don't. But I think that's the market. Like people don't want to buy a game; they want freemium. They don't want to pay like $10 for a game and then have the whole game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Diablo Immortal says hi.
yeah. I think like you need a couple of $100,000 to get all the unlocks
Or play for 10
or
years.
play for 10 years. Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah,
Jeez. But yeah, that's all I've played.
nice. More than I.
Will you do the
I
honors?
will. So thank you everybody for tuning in to another episode of Game Rivals. You can find us on your favorite podcasting platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Overcast, Google, you name it, we're probably there. We're also on YouTube. You can find the link for the video in the description. It's easier that way. The video version always goes live the same time the audio version goes live. You can find us on uh, Twitter, game underscore rivals underscore. You can find
Mhm.
Maximillian on Twitter at Maximillian underscore X, I think. Or is it X Maximillian?
It's still just at
At
Maximillian.
Maximillian. You can find us on Instagram at game rivals and at Maximillian underscore X. You can find Maximillian on Twitch at Maximillian underscore X or
Yeah,
twitch.tv slash
twitch.tv
yeah
slash
Maximillian underscore
Maximilian
X.
underscore X.
You can reach out to us through email, gamerivalsfeedback at gmail.com. We're on TikTok, same there at Game Rivals at Maximilian underscore X. And I think that's all. On that
Hmm.
note, I have been and always will be Sean Templar,
And I have been and always will be Maximilian X.
and we'll catch you on the next one.
Later.